Okay, today we are going to talk about multiplying multi-digit decimals. I want to start with a review of what you did last year, which is just multiplying with one decimal place. When we're multiplying decimals, we don't have to worry about lining the decimals up. So if one number has 3 decimals and the other only has 2, we don't have to worry about how they line up like we do with addition and subtraction. We're just going to multiply the two numbers like we would if there wasn't a decimal, and then worry about the decimals at the very end. So just to review, we're going to multiply this number here, 2 4/10 times 1 2/10. And if I think about what I have when I'm done, I just look at the whole numbers. If this was about 2.5 and that was about 1, my answer is probably going to be a little bit greater than 2.5. So I shouldn't have anything much bigger than that or much smaller than that. So kind of right in that area. So we'll start by multiplying 4 times 2, which is 8. And then we have 2 times 2, which is 4. We have our 0 that we use as our placeholder here. And then we're going to go to our tens digit here and multiply that. That would be a tens if we didn't have the decimal, but right now it's our whole number. So now we have 1 times 4 is 4. Make sure these numbers are lined up. And 1 times 2 is 2. Then we're going to go ahead and add straight down. So 8 plus 0 is 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. And 2. Okay. So now we have on this decimal, we have 1 decimal place. Here we have 1 number after the decimal. So our answer should have 1 plus 1 should have 2 decimal places. There we go. So we have 1, 2, and our decimal would go right in there. Okay, so just like we had said before, it should be a little over 2.5, which it is. Our next one, we're going to add 1 decimal place here. So we'll go ahead and separate this out. So this one, we're going to have 52 5/100 times 1 4/10. I'm actually going to write that a little bit better here. Remember I had said we don't have to line up our decimals. I'm going to line it up on the right-hand side here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and multiply as if the decimals weren't there. So as if we had 5,205 times 14, we're going to multiply it just like that. So we've got 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 0 is 0. And then we're going to add this 2, so that's 2. 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 times 5 is 20 again. Okay, I'm going to put the 0 as a placeholder here because we're going to go to the next decimal place. So 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 0 is 0. We don't need that 2 for this one. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 5 is 5. And then we're going to go ahead and add straight down. So we got 0. 2 plus 5 is 7. 8 plus 0 is 0, 2 plus 0 is 2, and 7. Now remember, we're counting our decimal places, so we have 2 decimal places. And this one we have 1, so 1, 2, and there's 1. So now we should have at the bottom, 2 plus 1 is 3. We should have 3 decimal places. So we're going to go ahead and count from the right. 1, 2, 3. The decimal goes right there. So it should be 72. And we don't need that 0 as a placeholder in 87/100. Okay. If we had the 0, that would be our third decimal place. Okay, one more here with just the 2. So we have 44 and 8/10 times 15 and 4/10. And we're going to go ahead and multiply that. So 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19. We don't need that anymore. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. We don't need that. 5 times 8. Oh, we need to add our 0 there for our placeholder. 5 times 8 is 40, so we need another 0. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 4 is 24. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. And this time, because we have, we're going to the third number, we need 2 zeros for our placeholders. And then we can go ahead and multiply with the 1. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. And 1 times 4 is 4. Then we're going to go ahead and add straight down. So 2 plus 0 plus 0. 9 plus 0 plus 0. 7 plus 4 plus 8. I'm going to go ahead and add the 7 and 8 because I see that that's 15 plus 4 is 19. And then I've got 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8. And then 2 plus 4 is 6. Again, we've got 1 decimal here, 1 decimal here. So at the bottom, we should have 2 decimal places. So 1, 2, we'll put our decimal right there. 689 and 92 hundredths. Okay, let's go on here. One more example. This one is going to be a little bit different. We have, 14 thousandths. So we're going to do 14 thousandths times 3 and 7/10. Okay, now we're multiplying 3 and 7/10 by something that's less than 1, significantly less than 1. So it makes sense that our answer should be less than that 3 and 7/10. So if you're just kind of estimating to start to kind of get an idea of what your answer should be, it's going to be less than 3.7 because we're multiplying by less than 1. I notice here that I have 3 decimal places and I have 1 decimal place here. So that means my answer is going to have 4 decimal places. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 1 is 7, plus these 2 is 9. 7 times 0 is 0, and 7 times 0 is 0. 3 times 4 is 12. We're going to put our 0 in there first. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. And then we've got 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. And then we can go ahead and add down. So 8 plus 0. 9 plus 2 is 11. Bring our 1 up here. 4 plus 1 is 5. 0, 0. Now remember we have our decimal places, 3 in this one and 1 in the second one. So at the end we're going to have 4 decimal places. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So my decimal is going to go right here. So my answer for this is 0. So 518, and we've got tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000ths, 518 10,000ths. And we had predicted at the beginning that it was going to be significantly less than 3 7/10, and this answer definitely is less. Okay, I'm going to give you one to try on your own, and that will be it for today. Make sure that you have this copied in your math notebook and submit for today's assignment. So we have 67 thousandths times 1 and 42 hundredths. So go ahead and complete this one on your own. Just a couple of notes. We've got 3 decimal places here and 2 decimal places here. So your answer is going to have a total of 5 decimal places. So if you need additional zeros, remember you can always add in the 0. Okay, go ahead and make sure you have all of these notes in your math notebook. If you missed anything, you can always go back and rewatch so you have it in your notebook and submit your pictures after you complete this final problem.